Apologies for my tardiness, dear chat, but I was collecting fluids from the other room, and, well, several other rooms, in fact. So we have water, which is going into more water, and then we have watered down apple juice from my main squeeze. I hope I remember how to do this. It's been a hot minute. Did Weeb go to sleep? No, Weeb did not go to sleep. She was collecting fluids. Okay, we're back. Welcome to the channel, everybody. It's been a hot minute, hasn't it? Yes, it has indeed. Before we get too into this, and I lose track of all sanity, are we actually streaming? Can you actually hear me? Is the audio sound? Is all good? Okay, yes, it looks like we do have sound, and we do have picture, which is already miles ahead of where I have been in past live streams after a bit of a hiatus, so we are already doing swimmingly, dear chat. So, I owe some people an explanation as to why it has been so very, very long since I actually did any content on my channel. Not since I did any content, because obviously we've been doing side quests pretty much every week for the last several months, and I have not missed very many episodes of that. Maybe one or two here or there, depending on how I was feeling at the time. Is the audio quiet? Alright, let me twin that up. Make it louder. How about now? Is that better? Let me double check. Do. It is kind of quiet. Do. Can't have dead air. That sounds louder. I realized that I just, asked you guys to double check my audio and then proceeded to not say anything for a whole several seconds. So, I apologize. I forgot how to do this when you're doing a solo show. Sorry. Okay. So, life update. Yeah. So, it's been a hot minute. Haven't done a whole lot of content on the internet. Not that I haven't been trying. I have several, hours of unedited raw footage for podcasts that will eventually be getting released into the ether. Is it still too low? Okay, all right. I can't type and talk at the same time. I realize that while I'm in meetings at work. Audio. Also, Windows 11 updated me to Windows 11 against my will a couple months ago, and I have not been able to deal with that properly. Is it 6? No, that's my audio. Holy shit, that's loud. Okay, I'm sorry. Your whole sound systems. How do I sound? And here I thought I was getting off to a great start after so many months. I knew it was too good to be true. Input volume at 24. Dear Lord. Okay. It's at 52 now. Is that better, chat? I will give it a couple of minutes before I close this window out. In the meantime, yes. Sorry, Windows 10 update. Windows updated me to Windows 11 against my will. That was not what I wanted. I wanted to live peacefully and in harmony with Windows 10 for the rest of my life because I knew how to use it and I didn't want to learn anything new because I am a boomer at 26 years of age. But unfortunately it was not to be. I was forced to update against my will, and here we are, chat. I have lost all of my Stream Deck profile shenanigans. OBS doesn't want to show the chat, which is why it's not getting displayed on the video right now, unfortunately. and probably several other issues. Of course, my video audio issue was not fixed. That issue where if I use my microphone one day and then I use it again another day, the the operating system just turns down the input to like 25, whatever 25 means, instead of having it at the nice, cool, smooth 50 that I like it to have. But what can we do, alright? I just have to kind of grin and bear it, unfortunately. Such is the nature of the beast, I'm afraid. She works in IT, and yet she can't properly discipline her computer. Isn't that lovely? But yeah, so we had some technical difficulties leading up to this, but hopefully they are all at least patched and manageable for now. I do intend to take a look at the Stream Deck and maybe simplify the buttons that I had previously with it so that it is simplified. But also, I need to take a look in OBS and revamp that, because all of my OBS stuff, I don't remember any of it. So this would be a wonderful opportunity. I'll just pencil it in with all of my other to-dos on my list of to-dos, because I have so many of to-dos that I have to-dos. So that brings me to what I was previously talking about. Where have you been, Weebo? That, the explanation for that is I've been around. I've been online. I've just not been publishing content. So, as I hinted at, I have several hours of raw footage. I have an entire 16-page script written. I have content in the works. It's just taking forever because I haven't had time to work on it. And so much is going on in my personal life that I've just kind of sidelined this hobby, because that's what it is. It's always been a hobby, and it will always be a hobby. I've sidelined this hobby in lieu of my job, wedding planning, which, don't ask me about wedding planning. I do not want to talk about wedding planning. Okay, I'm just gonna put that out there. Okay, chat? Wedding planning, personal family shenanigans, of which there has been quite a substantial amount of. And then, for the first time in my life, actually, like, listening to my needs and taking care of them. So I've been doing some self-care, some self-love for the first time in who knows how long. And that involves going to the gym and trying to get myself healthy physically as well as mentally. When you see somebody about all of the fun little shenanigans that goes on up there in the Weebo head, and get it sorted out, because that has not been done. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at with my personal life. It's a hot mess, but it's my mess, and I'm cleaning it up. At the same time, I'm also working on writing that book. I have 3.5 chapters that have been basically... Seriously? 2 commercials? Sorry. I've been sidetracked. I put it on conservative, because they make you pick one of the radio buttons, and it's either I have to select it or let YouTube do it. And I selected the conservative option, which is supposed to be like the least amount of ads, but if you're already 14 minutes into the stream and you have 2 ads, that doesn't sound very conservative to me. Anyway, sorry, tangent. Okay, don't look at the chat. Don't look at the chat. Don't look at the chat. Where was I? I totally lost my train of thought. Jesus Christ. Dear Lord. Mother of pearl. Wow. Yeah, see, this is the other problem, is that, like, mentally I just feel like I checked out sometimes. This is one of those days. I thought I was going to be good for a live stream, but I guess not. Oh, book stuff. Yeah, I'm like 3.5 chapters into revisions on the first book that I have been working on for the better part of like 1.5 years. And it's going well. It's going very well. I've made some writer friends, and we're helping each other through this long, arduous process that is book writing. And I have been workshopping it with a couple of people. Well, 1 people in my personal life. I need more people in my personal life to actually read my content in order to get some decent feedback on the story and my writing style, because I haven't had a lot of opportunities to explore what other people think of my fictional writing style. So that's the other thing. Yes, I was talking about 3 chapters. Thank you, Shiel. Yeah, so that's a lot of what it is that I'm dealing with. In addition to house maintenance, if I had known that taking care of a home and having a home to care for would be as big of an undertaking, if not bigger an undertaking, than maintaining an apartment complex, I probably would have put this off, owning a home off indefinitely, because this is ridiculous. I mean, flooding constantly, always, forever, endlessly. There's flooding. If it's or leaking or seeping or spillage, somewhere there is water in this house where there shouldn't be, and it disgruntles me greatly, and I am not having a good time about it. We have 3 leaks in our ceiling, and we're currently in the process of getting a new roof, siding, and gutters, which is a lovely, lovely, lovely time. As well as in the middle of planning for and getting ready to get married, which is in itself just this whole smorgasbord of things that I never actually thought I'd have to deal with, or never possibly conceived of having to deal with, but here we are. Because it's not just the party, the wedding. You have to have a rehearsal dinner, which unfortunately will involve half of the people invited to the wedding, because we hate ourselves, as well as the bridal shower that happened a week and a half ago. Yeah. As well as the bachelor and bachelorette party. And that's just the ones that I can think of off the top of my head. Anyway, I don't want to talk about wedding planning. Fuck that. I talk about it all the time with everybody in my personal life, and I'm sick of it. So we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about it. Can you tell I'm slowly losing my marbles? Because I am. And it's obvious. But then also, family stuff. Because there's always family stuff going on. Because I have a very large family. So there is a perpetualness to the family stuff that is always going on, which I'm not going to get into, but there's that. And then, of course, house stuff. And all the while, I'm trying to be a professional in the work environment and work 9 to 10 hour days and eat right and be healthy and drink the water. Drink your water, kids. And, it's just... adulting is hard. I wish I didn't have to do dishes all the time. Or make the bed all the time. Or do laundry all the time. Or weed all the time. Or I don't have to mow the lawn, but someone has to mow the lawn, and I have to pay them to mow the lawn. Or clean things up, tidying up. Oh my gosh. Oh, I have a system for this, actually. Okay, so this is a great system. Pro tip. We're going to get into what the stream is actually about in 10 minutes, but I just want to vent a little bit. Pro tip on clutter. So I get super anxious when there's things strewn about the house that aren't in a place that they're supposed to be in. If I can see it, it gives me the ick. And so I either have to put it away or it has to be out of my sight, out of mind, So if I can shove everything into a closet, I will, and I'll deal with it later. That's fine. But if it's in the foyer, in the living room, in the bedroom, and it's just there, not in its proper place, I'm gonna have an aneurysm. So what I decided to do was put a basket-shaped thing. We call them baskets, Weebo, in every single room. And whenever there is clutter that I don't feel like I want to bother putting in its proper place, but I don't want to see it, I just toss it in there. It's basically basketball with items. And whenever that basket gets overflowing with goodies and shenanigans, I just sort through the basket, put things in their proper place, and then maybe put stuff back in the basket or put things in a different basket. Because I don't feel like putting that all the way away. It just goes closer to where it's supposed to go. So the basket system is saving my marbles right now, which is great. We love a good basket system. Because if we didn't have the basket system, Weebo would be a basket case. So we have that. But other than that, just like making sure that things get, tidied up and on top and maintained, and that we're on top of stuff is good too. Because otherwise, Weebo gets a little... I didn't realize I was this kind of person, but Weebo gets a little bit like, about mess. I didn't realize that until I had to take care of my own place. Because for the longest time, all I had was like a 10 by 8 sized room that I had to take care of, and that was it. Well, actually, no, wait. Senior year of college, I guess that was kind of the massive hint that I was like this, wasn't it? Because we had the garbage people and all of their food. Their gross, molding, disgusting, rotting, everything, everywhere, all of the time. And dishes in the sink for like 3 weeks. So yeah, maybe that was the prequel. Maybe I was giving them too hard of a time. No, if you have rotting food in the fridge, that's a problem. If there are flies in the house, that's a problem. But like, I grew up in a house that was super clean all of the time. So that was my environment. Well, that's not entirely true either. My dad's house was clean. My mother's house was not clean. So we'd get basically shifted back and forth between. Anyway, it's complicated. Mess drives me crazy. So that's where we are. So we're 22 minutes in, and I said I was going to talk about a topic that I really wanted to talk about. And you know what? I'm going to open it up to inviting other people on too. Assuming I have everything set up the way that it needs to be set up for this to actually work. This is going to be interesting, people. But I think if people hop into the Discord, into which one do I want to use? I have a specific Discord channel. I thought that was locked down for this, but I guess not. No, I do have one. I'll hop into the live stream Discord if people want to hop into. I think the waiting room is open to people, but I'm not sure. If not, just the general Discord chat, and we can talk about the issue that I want to talk about, which is complimentgate, which is all over Twitter right now, at least my Twitter thread. And then we can go from there. I see we have Smoking Rat, The Next 6 Minutes, Snoopy, Darren Root, Shio Gorath, K. Shoal in the chat. Hello, everybody. Been a minute. Link to join the Discord. Shio, I thought you were in the Discord. Huh. Huh. Do 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 do. There. Have a Discord link. Now you will probably need to verify yourself, but the verifying instructions are just super simple. Anyone can do them, so just hop in there. Let me first off mute the music that is playing in my ear hole, and then I will bring Rat in. Do 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 do. I know what I'm doing. I can do it. Testing, testing. 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Cool. And I think the people can hear you too. Say something.
That something.
Okay, cool. Yeah, they can hear you.
Should they be able to hear me? I mean, really?
Yeah. Well, you hopped into the waiting room, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yes, you did.
I don't think things through, though.
Oh, well, fair enough. How you doing,
Hi.
Matt?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Going insane slowly.
Well, that's what getting older is.
Is it really?
That's what I thought it was.
Howdy,
Abs-
Six.
Hey,
Yeah.
we
Hang on, let me turn everyone down to a reasonable volume.
Hi.
my
Actually,
volume is always unreasonable, Weebo. You know that.
actually, it was. I think I had you at 122.
Damn.
That's insane.
Hey, Rad, how's it going?
It's going.
Excellent.
I was serious about what I said in chat, though. I've never witnessed clean or organized in my entire life. I've never seen it.
Really?
My house, not to be too disclosing, but like I live in a family of pack rats,
Mm.
and I may have some of those pack ratish tendencies myself.
Well-
But
Okay, so technically, I think my family has some of that. It's just we're better at hiding it. Because
there's no place left to hide.
yeah.
That's basically my thing. There's
Yeah.
nowhere left to hide things. So
Well, like, I think we have like 4 generations worth of stuff in this house just alone. Because this,
Mhm.
like, as you know, was my grandmother's house, and so
Right.
it came with a bunch of stuff from previous generations that we had to sort through before then, and it still has plenty of that stuff that we haven't actually gone through. And I am all the while collecting a bunch of stuff that I will eventually need to have my children go through. So it's just like
Mhm.
it's a vicious cycle.
yeah,
And I'm getting to that point where I'm like, do I want to subject my children to my hot mess later
I
on?
mean,
No, I don't.
when I think about it, like currently this was my grandparents' house.
Mhm.
I lived here because I used to take care of my grandparents. My parents had another house on the same block, but they had their own place.
Mhm.
And then 2008, the Fannie Mae Freddie Mac predatory loan thing,
Ugh.
they lost their house and they moved in here.
Mhm.
But so it's like, well, but it happens. We
Yeah.
dealt with it. But like, so there's my grandparents' stuff, my parents' stuff,
Mhm.
and then my grandparents also had their family stuff. So it's like 4 or 5 generations too. Like there's stuff that I it's just like I don't even know what it is. I'm like, I don't know what it is, but it's really tall and it just sits there and collects dust.
Hmm.
And they're like, oh, that's a record player. I'm like, it's taller than me.
No, that is
But-
unfortunate.
Yeah, I guess it's there we have an old I think it's still like some of it still works. I don't know how. We have an organ from like the 1860s
Oh, that's nice.
that
With like
still
a
works.
full,
Yeah,
with like
a
all the pipes.
well, no, it's all internal, but it's foot pedal. There's 2 foot pedals down at the bottom, like where you'd think the little pedals for a piano are.
Yeah.
But that's actually to run the bellows for the air pump that powers it.
Dude, I watch these restoration channels like almost religiously, like nightly before I go to sleep. And I see the restorations for all kinds of things. They're just absolutely amazing.
I mean, this thing's beautiful. It's not
Yeah.
perfect, but like all the valving, not like there's like these pull out and push in valves,
Mm.
Mhm.
and there's supposed to be some sort of decorative piece on the top front of them, but because it's almost 200 years old or something like that, or 160, I don't know. All the decorative pieces are gone, but the wood and everything else about it is beautiful. So it's just one of those things, and it just sits there, and it's like you can't. We're afraid to move it at this point. It's like, I don't know,
How
'Cause we-
operational is it right now?
No one's touched it really in like 30 years, but like when I was a kid, I used to play around with it and play stuff on it, like just
Cool.
get the valves to work and run the bellows, because it's tiring to run it.
I bet.
Because you have to pedal basically to actually get it to produce sound. You're going left, right, left, right, left, right, about that speed to get it to run.
Yeah.
So it's a workout.
Hey, guys, I need to disconnect and reconnect because for whatever reason I can't share my screen with you, so we can't go into the topic of conversation that I want to talk about. Yeah. So give me 1 sec. All right, testing. 1, 2.
I can hear you.
All right, cool. Now it's back. Of course it's back. All right, so I'm going to share my screen with you, gents. Let me know when you can see.
Gotcha.
Cool. All right, so forgive my
Hopefully Discord doesn't try to screw me over.
I hope not. I'm just showcasing a Reddit thread that has been in the last like 3 days specifically. It's been kind of contentious, and it's been obsessively just showing up on my timeline, and every single time I see it, I'm like,
one.
ah.
Yeah.
This one.
I've seen this a lot in the last 48 hours.
Yeah. And I bet everyone else here has probably 2.
No, I'm reading.
Oh, you're reading it? No, I'll read it to you if you want.
Okay.
But just to preface, I think this thread specifically is the thing, everything wrong with relationships actually in general, and I will explain why I think that after I read it. But I also, it's actually good that I have you guys in here. If anyone, hey Sam, if you want to hop in, I will drag you into the live stream chat. If you want to give us your 2 cents, if anyone wants to give their 2 cents. Not anyone. If people that I know want to give their 2 cents, I'd be happy to let you in. People that I've vetted.
I'm broke.
Haha. I'll give you 2 cents. How about that?
Okay. Yeah, I'll take 2 cents.
Okay. So this was posted 6 days ago to r/TrueOffMyChest on Reddit, which is, if you're unaware of that Reddit, is it a subreddit? I'm not a Reddit person. All I know about Reddit, I know about it from other sites, but r/TrueOffMyChest, I think, is like, well, it says right here, a place to get personal things off your chest, not for opinions, not for relationship advice, and not for preaching. So it's literally just like, if you have a confession, this is where you would confess that, if you're not religious. So, the thread is thus: I think I destroyed our relationship trying to compliment my boyfriend. And then she goes on to clarify, my boyfriend and I are both 28 years old and together for 2.5 years. Yesterday night, we were drinking and one thing led to another, and I tried to compliment him by saying he is not someone who I would hook up or be, is that supposed to be friends with benefits?
Yes.
Okay. But marry. I thought everything was fine, but he seemed extremely distraught after that. I realized how he understood it and tried to clarify it, but he is still the same this morning. He told me he needs space to think for a while and left the house. All my friends tell me I messed it up, and guys tell me it's not a compliment, and most men will understand it differently. I think I destroyed our relationship, and I am panicking now. Okay, so, thoughts before I give mine?
Well, if I were in the same position, there could be one of 2 ways I could perceive that. One, it was a genuine effort to try to convey something. Also, if it would depend on how I received it. I might be tempted to think that there's some sort of surreptitious thing going on there. That, of course, would depend on the situation. Guys will take that a lot of different ways, and those take it well or not take it well. The 2 most common, of course. When it comes down to phrasing does count. It's important that you say things the right way, or it can be misconstrued. It's good that she tried to clarify. But a lot of guys will take that as they're part of a 2-tiered judgment system, and they're being relegated to column B instead of being in column A.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I mean?
Yeah, I think I get that.
So it kind of depends on the guy. There are some guys where it's like a point of pride that they're able to fulfill all these different quotas within a relationship, and they have this expectation that their significant other has this opinion of them that meets these certain kinds of criteria. If they feel like they're not meeting those points,
Mm-hmm.
then they feel less of them. They feel like they've failed, and that can be tough for some guys to reconcile with.
I guess the question that I want to ask, and hi Sam, welcome to the stream.
Hello.
The question that I wish to ask for each of you three gentlemen here today, I'm putting you on the spot, is this.
Oh no.
What is your most good faith interpretation of what she said, and what is your most bad faith interpretation of what she said?
See, I read that like what you're talking about, the saying he's not someone who I would hook up with or be a friends with benefits but marry.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand the disconnect between I'm attracted to somebody and would, be intimate with, and marriage. I would think that you would need attraction and intimacy in both cases. So I don't understand how it's two different things.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems wrong. Like my interpretation is, well, what do you mean you'd marry me? Like I would be I can see why people would be offended. I'm kind of like, what does that mean? What does that mean for, like if I was the guy in this case, I would be like, what does that mean? Like, there's certain things that I like that don't apply to me. It would make me question things.
Mm-hmm.
And when I question things, I tend to go, what am I doing? I start to overanalyze and I make ridiculous conclusions. But in this case, I would probably be upset about that. And also the fact that you're adding alcohol to it, you could take that could spiral into really bad time, possibly.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. 100%. Most of the things said while intoxicated are probably not great things to be said. Or the most eloquent, for sure.
I think it can boil down to this, is that most guys are not shallow to the point where something like that would just kind of roll off their back. Because for most men, the two things, both the hookup and the marriage thing, they're not as separate an entity in their mind as they are perhaps in someone else's.
Mm-hmm.
So when one facet of that particular gem is attacked, it feels like the entire jewel is being attacked.
Yeah, I've got a couple of different angles of approach from this, and to try and give it as good a faith interpretation as I can. The best faith interpretation that I think I can give is that she likes him so much, she's so attracted to him that she's not interested in a short-term fling or a simple casual relationship. She wants something serious, really serious. He's the one that she wants to come home to, every day.
I agree. That's that. I was trying to make that point, but you said it better than I did.
Yeah, that's probably what the intent of the statement was.
I took it as like, you are not a fuckboy, you are husband material. This is how I see you. Basically, if we were to do it in like simple terms.
That being said, that being said, and this is not something that applies to all women. I'm not going to be, I'm not going to throw out, complete generalizations here. But someone actually raised a fairly good point on the Twitter post itself in the replies, and I do genuinely understand what they were saying to be true in a good amount of cases these days, in so much as there are two main. I don't know if you saw this, Weebo, but two main sort of. They called them mating strategies. I would call them dating strategies. Really, I mean, you could make the argument that these are human mating strategies from a point of sort of like deep subconscious pairing strategies, but I would say more from a point of view of what a woman is looking for at a given point in her life, and there is the sort of the short term casual sex, maybe looking to get children or something along those lines, right? And these are this is the guy who's he's got a lot of the qualities that you're looking for as a person, maybe physically, so on and so forth. The excitement in the moment, right? The excitement in the moment, or the excitement in the short term, and it'll be a lot of fun and all that kind of thing. But maybe there's not red flags, but you know what I mean. But certain parts about his personality or his reputation or something that you find inconsistent, that you aren't looking at as a woman, that you aren't looking to marry yourself to, quite literally, right? for the long term. So excitement in the now, or perhaps maybe in terms of like actually mating, good genetics or something like that, was the point that the post made. And then there are the guys that are, perhaps they don't have all the excitement, perhaps they don't have all of the good genetics, or perhaps they don't have all of the sort of the whisk you off your feet qualities, but they're consistent and they are committed, and they don't have an interest in sort of sampling all the dishes that life has to offer, but they can consistently put out a certain level of relatability and certain level of relationship, and the crossover between those two groups is, the Venn diagram is not a circle.
Yeah.
And so I didn't disagree with that in terms of its characterization of the sexual partners that the women seek out, and I think there is something of an attitude amongst men as well, that like as Six and Rat here were sort of saying, guys do really want to be polyvalent in relationships. They want to be, good providers, good caretakers. They want to build feel successful and feel powerful to a degree, I think. They also don't want to be thought of as bad at sex. There are very, very few guys out there that are just like,
No.
oh yeah, I suck in the bedroom.
Surely you
fine.
just.
You know what I mean? When it comes to sort of like the not really good faith, not really bad faith, but kind of like a really makes you think kind of interpretation, I suppose. It kind of comes across as like, I'm not good enough at sex, or I'm not sexually attractive enough to sort of whisk you off your feet in the moment, and I'm not exciting enough for you to be just like, for you to consider throwing your sort of throwing your caution to the wind, and then going off on a whirlwind adventure for a night or three, or maybe recurrent over a period of sort of like 6 months, while you're vulnerable, or whatever.
Yeah, I guess that's also my question. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Six.
I was just going to say, of course, right now, all we have to work with is this very short paragraph. We don't have any of the context that has built up to this moment, whether there's past history of misunderstanding, of strife, and blah, blah. closet and so forth. We don't have that. All we have is this to go on. But yes, Sam was hitting a lot of the right points. I think that it comes down to how the man in this relationship feels as is being perceived by his significant other.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't, of course, have anything that led up to that. We just have this little bit here.
I think an important piece of missing context that, of course, the boyfriend has that none of us do, and I don't expect any woman to sort of discuss her sexual history on a Reddit post.
Mm-hmm.
Many do, and that's tragic in its own ways. But has she had friends with benefits before? Has she had one-night stands before? The one-night stands, hookups, I should say, not necessarily one night.
Mm-hmm.
But because if she has, and he's got that in the back of his mind at all, especially as this conversation's being had, or as a subconscious insecurity that he does have, and it's one of those things like, there will be many people, I dare say, who would if we had that kind of context, be just like, oh, typical male insecurity or something like that. And it's like, yeah, maybe it is a typical male insecurity. Maybe it is. That doesn't mean it's illegitimate.
Right.
It doesn't mean it's invalid.
Okay, I guess, like, my question, now, the more I think about it, here, like, I don't know this because there's not any of that information, like you're saying.
Yeah.
My
Yeah,
brain's
this is
also
pure speculation.
Right,
like,
and
I'm
we
looking
haven't
at this
gotten
and-
it, and I've looked into this particular user. This is the only thing that this user has posted, so
Okay.
we're not going to get any background information.
that's fine.
Whatsoever.
I'm just
we can
here's-
speculate, certainly.
that's basically where I'm at. Like, again, looking at this from, and like trying to like put myself in the guy's position, this thought has come into my head. Now I'm like, oh God, why didn't I think of that first? If I'm good enough to marry, but I'm not somebody to hook up with, does that mean you're gonna cheat on me? You know?
It's
That
interesting
that under the right circumstances, she'd still come home to me at night to be my wife, but
Mhm.
when she's out by herself, can I trust her now? Like, I would wonder, like that.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a very
And I
real
would-
question.
Well,
Yeah.
that just goes to show that it seems as if men and women are not as different as we perceive them to be, because this is a genuine concern for a lot of women who do hook up with fuckboys, or who do marry the bad boy archetype, right? This, like, is he gonna cheat on me? Or if they give off that, like, this is the woman that I am settling down with after romp after romp after romp after romp after sowing my oats, as it were. So it is interesting to see the reaction on the other side of this from the gentleman's point of view, and how they take this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That sort of does lead me towards the sort of the more bad faith into. I say bad faith.
Right.
Bad. Yeah, let's go with bad faith.
Mhm.
The negative interpretation.
For lack of a better term.
For lack of a better term. From his point of view, and again, this is without the proper context, but again, we're going bad faith here.
Right.
It could absolutely be read or understood as, oh, you've had your fun. You've done your sleeping around, even if it's not sleeping around, but you know, you've had your fun, you've had your excitement, and now you're settling. You're settling for me. You know, you've
had your strawberry shortcake, and now it's time for shredded wheat.
Yeah, exactly, very much so. There's this sort of, contrary to what Reddit might have you believe, most guys are not into being cuckolded.
But does that count as cuckolding? Like, if she goes from one lifestyle choice to another lifestyle choice, completely cold turkey, cuts one off, like, she is completely faithful to this one gentleman right here, after however long, that technically doesn't count as cuckolding, does it?
It doesn't in the current understanding of cuckolding. No, it doesn't. But it's sort of like, okay, so why have you changed? is the question that comes to mind. Why have you changed your mind?
Mm.
Have you changed your mind? Have you changed as a person? Is that part of your life behind you? And if so, why?
Well, that's a
These
question.
are just things that we don't know about her currently, that we can't glean from this
Right.
particular body of text.
Right, but if you're in a relationship and you're asking yourself that question about someone that you've been in a relationship with for 2.5 years, right? Can I trust you to remain faithful to me? The intention, obviously, is that you're going to marry them. That would kind of... That would indicate to me a significant level of mistrust and a potential failing in the relationship itself. Because without
In my mind,
trust...
that would depend highly. It would depend highly on where he originally found her and how she has grown from then.
Where he originally found her.
Yeah.
You make it sound like she was an alley cat.
I know, but this,
and the female
but
distribution system just gave her to him, like, oh, here, have this one.
Let's be real though. I mean, there are absolutely people out there, and this is not just a women thing, not by any stretch of the imagination. There are absolutely people out there who are the metaphorical alley cat.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's like
Right.
I don't like to say that about people, but there really are some people out there that really are quite alley cattish in their origins.
Yeah, so it in my mind, it would matter very much. Not so much the things that she says, but certainly things that she has done over a period of time that would indicate that this is truly a genuine position that she is in right now, as opposed to more wishful thinking on the man's mind.
Mm-hmm.
Something that would clearly indicate to him that she is following this path, not just because for appearance's sake or trying to make herself feel better, but genuinely where she is. This is a level of character development for her. She's putting forth the effort and remaining consistent, not just through words, but by actions,
Mm-hmm.
every day. And we are all such fragile beings, and it's often tough for us to be able to discern one from the other.
Yeah. I would also say that there is, and again, just, leaning into the bad faith side of it here, is sort of like the impression that one could draw from this is that there are men out there that she considers attractive enough or exciting enough that she doesn't require any kind of commitment from them in order to have a sexual relationship with them.
Yeah.
Whereas him, no, he needs to be, a committed person. He needs to be the boyfriend who becomes the fiance, who becomes the husband. And if were it not for that, she wouldn't be interested. And that in and of itself is like, again, leaning on the bad faith interpretation, is it comes across as a point of, you are inadequate unless you do this thing and this thing and this thing. No man wants to hear that. No woman wants to hear that. No woman wants to hear that.
Right, of course.
It would be sort of, I think, the equivalent of, you need to put out for me, and if you don't, I'm not interested. I think would be...
Nobody likes to be judged by a two-tier system.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And that is... I think that would be the sort of the nicest of the bad faith interpretations,
Right.
Really. Yeah.
But so, if they've been in a relationship for 2.5 years, we can assume that they know each other, they love each other, like, they know each other enough to trust each other to be faithful, because you wouldn't be in a 2.5-year relationship if you didn't. I assume.
I wouldn't say... I would say that is certainly the feminine perspective, yes. I don't think that carries across as consistently to the male side of things.
Are you telling me that gentlemen enter into relationships with women they don't trust over 2 years?
Yes.
Are you speaking from personal experience, Sam?
Yes.
Oh boy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Other gentlemen on the
Maybe
there are.
panel.
I'm sure that there are people out there that do. I can't speak for other people, but
Okay.
Let me
I
tell you
would-
this: I have incredibly poor taste in women, and I've had incredibly bad experiences with women that I didn't know well enough, and ended up getting burned fairly badly.
But, okay, so let me amend my statement. While you were in the relationship, did you trust your partner?
Probably more than I should have, given what I didn't know about them at the time.
Yeah.
Give-
I think. Sorry, right, go ahead.
I was going to say, given that question, when you were in the relationship, did you trust them? Yes, but it turns out that's because I'm naive
Well-
and trusting.
Okay.
That is what it comes down to. Yeah, I think that there's an attitude amongst a lot of young men, and 28, it's around all of our ages, loosely speaking, right? It's not that very
I'm old
long
as
ago.
fuck.
Well, obviously, some of us here are a little older than others.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
but 28 is not that far away for any of us, is it?
Right.
Really? Not in the
No.
grand scheme of things. I think, but yeah. So there are young men, and also, to be 28 doesn't mean is no guarantee of experience, right? When it comes to relationships.
Right.
This may well be his first serious relationship. It is entirely possible. We don't have context.
It could be, it could not be.
Yeah,
It could be that she's had however many buddies,
Yeah,
we
or
don't know.
not.
And-
We
and-
don't know.
And I don't want to go too deep into the whole body count type stuff, because I find it a rather distasteful subject at the best of times.
For sure.
It goes into the weeds pretty fast.
It does. It really does. But
Indeed.
so to sort of skirt around that, I do think that there are a lot of young men out there and a lot of inexperienced men out there who have a fuck it, let's see what happens attitude when it comes to relationships. This may go somewhere, this may not. And there is less, I think there is less room for young women to kind of be fuck it, let's see what happens, because relationships have got different impacts on people, on men and women in different ways, similar in some regards and different in others. I mean, when the subject of children comes up, that is a point where I think a lot of young men these days actually really need to think a little bit more about what they're doing before they do it.
Certainly.
Yeah, women, young women having, getting pregnant and potentially having a child is kind of a big deal within the space of a year for young men. Yeah. Well,
Say it ain't so.
Well, this is the thing, right? Because there's a much greater imminence to pregnancy for women than there is for men.
Because it's like right
That
there.
being, that being said, once child is born, that's where the man ostensibly, and I think, call me a traditionalist here, but should be thinking about how he's going to be stepping up into that role. And I think a lot of young men, that doesn't really occur to them until it happens. For like a month, sure, or up to like a month before it actually happens, should we say?
Right.
So yes. This again is that sort of how to put it? Yeah, I sort of lost my own thread here. Bear with me.
Oh, it's fine. You're good. You're good. You're good. Well, so to the point that I was trying to make is, if you're in a relationship with somebody for 2.5 years, at some point, obviously, you trust them enough to, be with them. I assume.
Right.
That's me making an assumption. He could, for all I know, not trust her worth as much as he can throw her. Fine, whatever. But generally speaking, when you're in a relationship, one can assume that you trust that person enough
Right.
to be somewhat vulnerable with them. Maybe not completely, but like to a degree, right? You sleep next to them. That's pretty vulnerable, I would think, right?
Again, I would emphasize, yes, generally, but more so for young women than for young men.
But still, it's like you're asleep. Like, what's her face? Delilah? Yes, cut Samson's hair when he was asleep, is so the story goes, and you know that was his strength. So it's like it's metaphor.
Yeah.
A biblical metaphor. Whoosh.
But that's actually an excellent point, Weebo, from the point of view of like, yes, Samson did trust her, he did, despite the fact that he very much should not have.
Right.
There were signs, yo.
There were signs,
You know?
yo. Right.
Right. There were red flags, and that actually kind of leads back to what I was saying. Actually, that kind of gets me back on the thread. I do think that there are an awful lot of young men who don't actually consider the value of their own vulnerability, and maybe go into relationships even for lengths of time. I've certainly done it. I think a lot of young men have. Not that I'm all that young anymore, but yeah, I think that there are a lot of young men. Never underestimate the power of the feminine mystique. It's a gripping tale. It's a gripping adventure. It really is to be in a relationship with a woman.
Hey, Polly. He's in the chat. He says, trust after 2 years sounds like plenty of time to have developed a burning resentment. You know, that's true, too. I do recall my parents in their youth.
Absolutely.
I think
that could
there's
also be
there's a certain there's a certain thing between trust and desirability. I think in a lot of ways it feels almost, I'm just trying to take this guy's point of view, his perspective here. I would imagine, and based on his reaction, that a lot of his trust, he felt betrayed because a lot of his trust was based on his perception of his own desirability within the relationship.
Very, very good, succinct way of putting it. Yes, I think you're back on the money there, Six. Yeah. And now that's been challenged. Now he needs some time away to go and consider: were there red flags that I missed? Have I been a fool all along? Is she really everything that I imagined her to be? Have I been in love with an idea of her rather than who she actually is? Because that's a very, very real question and a real problem for relationships in general, right?
I can tell you from personal experience that is certainly the thing that got me when it did. Because I've had a lot of time to think about it, a hell of a lot of time to think about it. It's so many years ago. But yeah, at the time, I was very much enamored, very much in love with an idea, as opposed to a real person, and that was my big pitfall.
Yeah. Not to personalize too much, but yeah, you can absolutely boil down my former marriage to being exactly that. 2.5 years of just wonderfulness, going places around the world, traveling, working really hard to save up loads of money. We get loads of goals and all that kind of thing, and we get married and we get a house and all that kind of things. Change very, very quickly the moment that those rings were on. Now that was a kind of
thanks, Sam.
Well, look. I do want to stress. I do want to strongly emphasize. This was a freak case. Most relationships do not go the way that my marriage went. Thankfully, the fire of optimism still burns brightly in this heart. Let me tell you.
Good. Good to hear.
But no, it did. It taught me an awful lot about the difference between that which is presented and that which can be hidden, the idea of a person versus the reality of a person. And I did also come to appreciate that there are an awful lot of women out there, young and old, that they start out, whether they have this idea of a guy or several guys, or and an idea of what a relationship is and what a relationship should be. And some of them even have multiple ideas of what a relationship can be, in so much as there is a difference between a friends with benefits and a guy that you marry. A guy that you marry is not somebody that you sleep with after, or rather, not a friend with benefits for women, generally speaking, is not a guy that they hold off on until the third time sleeping in the same bed. They're there for a particular purpose. They have a particular idea in mind, and that's what they go through with. Okay, yeah, great, fine. The married guy, however, there's let's employ the mystique a little bit here. Let's give this the best go that we can. Let's not be trashy or anything like that. Let's not be sloppy about what we're doing in the relationship here. And that's the difference that I think that's a general theme across all people's ideas of a serious relationship or a relationship that they're trying to get into with somebody that they consider serious relationship material. Yes.
Well, ideally, in a healthy relationship, there's a decent amount of vulnerability that you can have with the partner. You should be able to feel secure enough to, allow your partner to have those foot in mouth situations where they say something that could be taken offensively, but they mean it in like the best of ways. And you should be able to want to give them enough grace to take a good faith interpretation of what they're saying.
Ideally. As bad as this looks currently from her point of view, and maybe from her friend's point of view, he is actually doing exactly that. It's one of those for guys when it comes to dealing with problems. We have the whole compartmentalization thing. Yeah, that I think that's generally known, generally accepted.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very difficult when you realize that the situation that you need to compartmentalize and analyze and think over and give proper good time to. It's very, very difficult to do that when you are in the thick of that situation. And if you can not be in the thick of that situation in order to give it the proper time, the good time that it needs for consideration. Generally speaking, yes, you are going to take the opportunity to do that. It is much more difficult to analyze a situation from the center of it versus from the outside of it.
Indeed.
And so I do genuinely think, as much as her friends are sort of doomsaying about this, I kind of think that they're wrong in how they're kind of approaching it or how they're understanding it. He will have an answer. Now, will he come back to her and give her that answer? Not necessarily. The answer may well be that he feels he has been a fool all this time, and that he just needs to get away, and the easiest way to get away from that is to just cut off. I hope that he has the fortitude to not just ghost her, because it's horrible to be ghosted. I've been ghosted myself after 18 months. It was unpleasant. I have ghosted people, and I've had sufficient time after that to consider how that must have made them feel and whether or not they deserve that kind of thing. And the answer, even for the bad relationships that I've had, no, it's that sensation that is imparted upon a person by ghosting. No, that's not something that I'm not going to say nobody deserves. I'm not going to say that that's something that nobody deserves. There probably are a handful of people out there that maybe do deserve it, but I don't know any of them.
Handful for sure, but not like people that you've been like friends with or friendly or intimate with, like
exactly. It's
strangers.
In a lot of cases,
Generally.
in a lot of cases, we see a lot of misunderstanding occur from two people that, when you look at things overall in the grand scheme of things, they haven't really known each other very much, very long. And say let's say, just hypothetically speaking, this particular relationship that's been 2.5 years long, they only knew each other for maybe a year and a half before that. So when you put that in that context, they have known each other for less than 5 years. So there's not that sort of familiarity that has occurred inside the relationship and outside the relationship. And they certainly haven't had enough time inside the relationship to get to know these certain things and look for certain things and then work through certain things, have the important conversations that need to be had. So in my mind, a lot of what's gone on here is just a real lack of familiarity.
I think Michael Trudell raises an excellent point, and this does come back to kind of what I was saying about the fuck it, let's see what happens attitude that a lot of young men have. He says it might be that the guy believes he can't get any better. Yes, which is an awful, awful, awful place to be, and an awful thing for men to think about themselves. Guys, honestly, you're allowed to have standards. You're allowed to have standards, and you're allowed to shoot for the fucking moon. You really are. If there's any takeaway from any of this, you can always, quote unquote, do better. It's just, you don't always have to. There are plenty of good women out there. So don't let that thought enter your mind.
If we tell women that they could always do better, then they're delusional. No, but this is what I'm saying. Like, the notion of can you do better? Well, yes, always.
you can always, quote unquote, do better, because the reality is there isn't really, with some notable exceptions, there isn't really better and worse out there. There's just different.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, and
yes.
it boils down. Is the current product that you're dealing with, is it the thing for you? And
yes.
If ultimately, after a period of time, you come to the conclusion that that is not the case, then it's, and of course, the situation here is, maybe right now he's contemplating whether or not his consumer reports in his mind is really jiving with his current product.
What he wants from life, what he wants from her, what he wants from their relationship. I think to sort of, again, to try and bring this back to sort of the positive place, the optimistic place, I suppose. In all likelihood, I have a degree of faith here in him going away to consider these things. I don't think he's like inaccessible. Hello, Mr. Dub.
You were just in the meeting room. Don't pretend like you've been there forever.
No,
I had time to think up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 synonyms. Come on.
Cinnamons?
Siminicins.
I will cede the floor to Mr.
Salamanders.
I'm gonna go top up my drink.
Take it away, Polly.
You want to talk about being ghosted? Y'all don't know about being ghosted. I'll tell you about being ghosted.
My grandmother died last year. It was the worst ghosting of my life. Actually, no, my grandfather's
hung
haunting
around
me.
in her wedding dress. It was really creepy. Apparitions in the middle of the night.
Rattling of pots and pans.
Why she was speaking in a Victorian accent, I have no idea, but it didn't help.
She's not even Victorian.
I don't even know what a penny whistle is.
Woman haunting a house, I think Victorian woman in a corset. I don't know why.
I feel like the corset would just go right through the ghost because, those things are tight. And not in a fun way.
Am I the only person here that would be okay with a haunting?
I'm actually seriously considering that my house is haunted because the lights keep flickering on in the breezeway for no reason. And I think my grandfather is in there.
I don't know.
That would depend on who is haunting me.
Whatever
you install substandard electrical work? Is that why you're...
I don't know. It's
That's
just,
also a possibility.
the idea of, not to get off the subject too far, but like the idea of like strange occurrences and weirdness and just generally creepy, odd things that happen don't really bother me. I'm just like, whatever. I take it in stride. I don't know why I'm like that, but I do. Like, I've walked into houses and like I've walked into places and people have tried to mess with me. They like moved stuff and like rearranged stuff and like weird, like the what was that, poltergeist, where the chairs were all rearranged on the dining room table.
Oh,
Like, people have tried to prank me with stuff like that, and
rude.
I didn't. I looked at it and just went, oh, okay, and walked on. It does not bother me, and it made some of my prankish friends very upset.
Yeah, if you're to suffer
Now,
a
if I was
haunting, it's got to be genuine.
Yeah, if I were being haunted by the ghost of Donald Rumsfeld, I would not be in a good place. If I were being haunted by the ghost of Prince, that'd be freaking awesome. Because I would try to get him to teach me how to play guitar.
It'd be a
Not
musical
badly.
haunting then. You'd be hearing.
Really? I'd ask him where he would go to get a Sam Cooke album.
The wrecked snow in the sky. Is Don Rumsfeld dead?
I think he is.
Oh,
I mean,
no.
arguably he was dead after 1987, and all being collectively haunted. But
if Chad can figure that out for us, is Donald Rumsfeld dead?
You know, there's this magical thing called Google where we could just look it up.
I don't trust Google.
You don't trust
Speaking of haunting and all that kind of thing, you know, has anybody noticed we have the pentafecta right here?
Oh, my brain.
We got an otter, a rat, a frog, and a cat, and a woman. That's the pentafecta right there.
A woman? Why am I the only one that's not an animal?
Do you want to be an animal? Do you
Yeah,
want
why
a
is
man
that,
on the
Weebo?
internet? You want a man on the internet to tell you that you're an animal?
No.
I'm just as...
Do you want to end my YouTube career before it even really starts, Weebo? Is that what you're saying?
Can
Actually,
we go back
you know
to
what? That would
Donald
be
Rumsfeld
funny
alive or
as
dead,
hell.
please?
I'm just a
Just saying it's a little
cylinder
witchy.
here spinning.
I can be an animal. Gender equality and all that stuff.
The point is, Weebo, that it's witchy. It's witchy. You should be delighted by
We
that.
are your familiars, and I am the handgun in your nightstand.
How did
It's
you
a
know
six
about
shooter.
that? I keep that secret, Six.
Is it secret? Is it safe?
Not anymore. Apparently not. No, I gotta move the handgun to the next drawer in my
What?
nightstand. And that's actually it's the Kimber, Sam.
Hey,
The
Wonderful.
Evo.
jealousy. Thank you.
I'm very pro Kimber. I don't own one myself, but
I don't either.
I do appreciate the company.
Hence the
Thank-
jealousy.
The only other person that I know who owns a Kimber is Polly.
And I am jealous of his Kimber because it's a good company.
And my late uncle, but he's dead, so technically he doesn't own it anymore.
So Donald Rumsfeld.
Eldritch entity, both dead and alive.
That's
Thank
not
you, pneumatic
helping.
autist.
Yeah, that's not helping.
Ooh, can I be an eldritch entity? Can that be my animal?
Sure.
Well, are you wanting to be the goat in the forest with 1,000 young?
Is that the only option?
No, but it's the one option that we can't say on YouTube without tripping the, automated language filtration system.
Is it really?
Hammer with the June 29th.
You don't want to antagonize the old algorithm, do you?
No. Okay. Confirmation. Dead.
I don't
Got it.
mind.
Thank you, Hammer.
My YouTube career's in the toilet anyway, so it's not like I planned on.
I mean, yeah, you're online hanging out with a Frenchman. I mean, how much worse could it possibly get?
Oh, hush you. Everyone, go subscribe to Sam. He's in the chat.
Oh, don't do that. Not out of pity, please.
Do it because you like his voice.
And check out Sam. He's frequently on Chaos Eve's channel where he streams with Zell and Chaos Eve as they play games like Elden Ring and other things.
And Sea of Thieves, all that good stuff.
If anyone,
And I like to stop by and say hi.
Oh, it's always
Their
a pleasure
streams
to
are
have you there,
fun.
Six.
if any of you gentlemen would like to self-shill in the chat, feel free, because you will get a whole 10 extra people potentially.
Oh, Weebo, thousands of people watch your stuff after the fact.
Yeah,
I've seen your channel page. I'm not envious.
Yeah, maybe
All
like
I
8
can
months
say
ago.
is RC Cola, and if you don't know what that means,
Don't
you're
worry
probably
about it.
better off. Check your DMs. Then you'll know what I'm talking.
Yep.
RC Cola.
My DMs.
It's fizzy.
I am
Everybody's DMs.
I am interested to hear, Polly, your sort of your good faith take and bad faith take on the subject at hand here, though, if you have yet developed them.
My opinion on what?
The subject at hand, the Reddit
Compliment
post that
gate.
we're looking at here.
Oh yeah, we got one of those. Oh yeah. Okay.
The
We're
subject
doing
of
content,
today's
Polly.
conversation. Oh my gosh. While Polly's reading that, I just have to lament about the fact that I may or may not need to get my tonsils removed. Yay!
Your what?
My
Oh, boy.
tonsils.
Oh, okay. Cut out for
Ouch.
a second, and I thought you said toenails. I was like, why?
That too. Those pesky little buggers. They're just, growing.
I actually despise cutting my toenails. I hate it.
It's the worst, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I'm not very flexible, so it's uncomfortable.
Same. I have tiny arms. T-Rex arms.
I don't.
that and that sharp snip sound. I hate that.
But
As a man, I'm not exactly a fan of anything related to snipping.
Still,
Big
tonsils.
bad.
I hope that doesn't have to be a thing with the tonsils removal. So,
Well, let's hope that we can get rid of this uncomfortable throat feeling with antibiotics. Because I don't want to have to... I think they burn them off or something?
I don't know.
I don't either, but I've always assumed it's
never
like
had.
the worst experience ever.
Hopefully they don't use something as imprecise as say a pair of nail clippers, because that would really suck.
Oh, no!
Oh, new phobia unlocked.
Why did you
Well
put that
played, sir.
image feeling in my
I
brain
win
space?
again. I win again.
Oh gosh, I'm not sleeping tonight. That's all I'm dreaming about.
Oh.
But no,
Pair of the
I'm
nail clippers.
0 for 2 in terms of useless body parts. So all 4 of my wisdom teeth had to get removed. We all remember the story about my appendectomy one fateful
Oh yeah, and
Tuesday
the
morning.
spacey stare that you had in that photograph. It's like
Ugh.
she must be on something really interesting.
Yeah,
we
we gave me
never-
the good stuff.
The glassy eyes.
Weebo's the master of the spacey stare. I can't look spaced out like that.
Rude.
Oh boy.
It's the big eyes, Weebo. That's the thing that really sells it. I've got little eyes. I'm a little squinty fucker.
You can't sneak a compliment in after you just called me spacey.
Yes, I can, and I will.
Anyway, Polly, did you get a chance to read the Reddit post yet?
Almost
Yes.
made me choke on my tea.
Do you have a good faith and bad faith interpretation of this post?
Parts of it are, excuse me, I'm not feeling well and I'm kind of out of it today, which will probably lead to a nonsensical take. How about that? That's what I'm offering.
Hey! We always need one of those.
Hey! Okay. part of it I find to be ambiguous. Other parts of it I find to be simply not believable. So I've read it over like 4 times, like, and the section of I thought everything was fine and so on. Like either this is a bad retelling of events, or I find the entire episode unbelievable. What did you really do?
So-
Becomes my question.
Right. So in essence, your one opinion you would have on this is it's and they all clapped.
That's in the sense of like I want attention and responses. Yeah, I believe that this was a Reddit post that was geared for interaction. But beyond that, okay. So to be specific, or as Sam insists, Pacific.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Pacific?
Sam insists that it's Paschetti and Pacific. It's really
You
I do
too?
not. I do not.
I couldn't
do
say
not.
spaghetti for the longest time, and that was my chosen choice of
I
word.
take umbrage at the employment of such terms.
Paschetti.
You're
But it
telling me
annoys
that
me.
this is the meeting. This is the meeting of the Paschetti Club here.
No, it isn't. You're all heretics. If that's what you're gonna use. If that's the language you're going to use, that's heresy.
There is only one
As-
time I
as-
will. There's only one time
as
I
luck
will
would
employ
have
the
it-
term. Go ahead, Six.
As luck would have it, I'm having Paschetti tonight.
You see, he has to fight to say it, Weebo. He has to struggle to say the thing.
Paschetti?
Yes.
Paschetti, 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 Paschetti. I don't
There's
have
only
to
one time I
struggle.
will employ the term Paschetti, and that's when I'm talking to Kefki, and that's because she's a delight.
Oh,
And I'm also a delight.
we're all delights
Anyway,
here.
back to Polly.
I also picked up things from Kefki, like Chimkin.
Dude, same.
That's just fun.
I mean, that's a better word than chicken. Just saying. She improved the word. What are you going to do? Argue with her?
That's a great word. That's the only way to say it.
They really are.
Beans.
Chimkin.
I mean, I've been telling people that they want to argue over who's got the best nuggets. Why aren't we talking about the Chimkin fries from Burger King? They're good.
If
We
I
just gotta
ever
update our
walk in-
whole lexicon.
If I ever walk into a Burger King again, Polly, I will get the Chimkin fries.
They're good. They're long fry-shaped nuggets. I mean, obviously, but yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, they're better than them damn Hardee's stars.
Oh,
They don't.
What?
They don't. Hardee's or what's the
Carl's
other?
Jr.? Isn't it
What-
Carl's
what-
Jr.?
White
Carl's
Castle?
Jr. Thank you.
Oh.
Yeah, Carl's Jr. / Hardee's, same joint.
Never heard of it.
Really?
Carl's Jr. They were really slow though at their drive-through.
Never, ever, ever.
Huh.
But I don't eat a whole lot of fast food, so.
Weebo's one of those people, those strange people that likes to cook.
I actually also pack sandwiches for long distance travels across country.
I have a weird
Be like Weebo.
I have a strange anecdote about how Hardee's actually. I once got curly fries from Hardee's years ago, and when I got the large fry that I ordered, it was just a potato, or so I thought.
Wait, what?
They had curly fry cut the entire potato into one giant curly fry.
That's fucking awesome.
We took the ends and split it apart. It was like 10 feet long.
You
Somewhere,
get 10
Oh,
feet of
yeah.
potato
I've got
for
a-
one potato?
If you curly fry it, apparently, yeah. Because
Wild.
we've got a picture of it somewhere, but I think it's a Polaroid. It's ancient. It's from the late 80s. So. But I do have evidence of it if I find it.
Nice.
So, back to Compliment Gate now that we've tangented
Sorry.
from Scabetti Gate. Is it Scabetti or is it Paschetti?
The
Paschetti.
latter.
The latter. Paschetti. Gotcha.
I would say neither, but then I'm a fickle individual.
Of course. So, Polydub. Your take, sir.
how's it okay? I tried to compliment him by saying he is not someone that I would hook up with or be friends with benefits with, but marry. In addition to your poor writing skills, you're also kind of a whore.
Pulled no punches with that one.
Why? I mean, that would have been my first question.
Mm-hmm.
Would have been, right, friends with benefits. So you got fuck buddies and one night stands and husband material?
Mm-hmm.
Like, really taking the equipment out for a test drive, aren't you?
These are your three, arguably two categories, lady. Mm-hmm.
So wait, is this your best faith interpretation or your worst faith interpretation?
It's just what occurred to me that, like, how in your mind did this constitute a compliment? Like, so best faith, most generous, whatever the fuck you want to call it, interpretation would be charitable, rather, interpretation would be, well, I have never done any of those things. You're not somebody that I consider only physically attractive, but I consider your many other qualities to be highly admirable, such that I consider you to be husband material. Like, in her mind, is that what she meant?
Polly, try that again, but without the dripping and irony.
I mean, if I were saying what she said, that's probably what I mean, but I do not have a history of stuff.
Putting your foot in your mouth.
No, I do have a history of putting my foot in my mouth. That's for sure. I have done it plenty of times. Live.
Weebo,
on
I just
air.
want to point out, myself, Rat, and Six, we have all three of us born our souls to the internet.
Yeah.
And over here's you, like, oh, well, I mean, I wouldn't say such a thing. But if I did.
Oh no, I've said some of the most dumbass things to Super Nintendo that he could have taken absolutely the worst way if he were like that, but he's not. Well, no, he is with other people, but for me, he gives me a good faith interpretation. I'm just special like that, I guess.
Either that, or he's just so impacted, like mentally impacted by the sheer level of hard
Stupidity.
R-wordness,
Yeah.
that he is unable to kind of to issue forth a negative interpretation, and frankly, I don't blame him.
After
Remember when
10
I said this
years.
last night, Sam?
What's that?
Maybe he just doesn't want to see part 2, so thus no negative interpretation. You see?
Polly, if we ever get Super Nintendo out for a drink, you know, we should ask to inspect his ribs for bruising. That's
Yeah, intervention.
Ah! What? I would never.
See,
Despite what he tells you.
Yeah, I see. Did you pull?
Is that why you have? Is that why you have the big phone book?
I'm
We're
worried.
laughing about domestic violence.
Don't believe it.
Why
when
does
he
she
tells you
have
I
a fucking
hit
pair
him.
of socks full of oranges? Now we know.
No. It's actually a sock full of butter. Get it right?
Oh,
That sounds dirty somehow, and I'm not quite sure how just yet.
See,
that's how you
somebody
attract
suggested,
ants.
and this is where it started last night. Somebody suggested that I was afraid of you.
What?
To which I promptly responded, "I'm not afraid of her. I'm just scared she's gonna hit me."
Head and a half taller or shorter than you. I have tiny
That
T-Rex
changes
arms.
nothing. I just, like I said, I am not afraid of Weebo Jones. What, are you kidding me? I'm just scared she's gonna hit me. It's different.
Is that why you won't give me your
Yes,
mailing
yes.
address?
Well,
She is the
I do have a
scariest
question.
5 foot 2 woman with a sock of butter.
well, see, you know the tradition, the groom shouldn't see the bride before the wedding. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that go with everybody except those that are like, you know, your mom and your hairdresser, everybody, like your dad? Does that go for all the guests too that we don't get to see you?
I think we're doing a first look before, so I don't think it matters in this case. So, like,
Because I was
pictures
hoping the
before
first
wedding.
time you were going to see me, I was
Mhm.
sitting in a chair out in the audience on the bride's side of the aisle. And then, because I find it very unlikely you're going to rush me walking down the aisle.
Wait, you're not coming to the rehearsal dinner the night before on Halloween? I booked a castle.
Don't do it, Polly.
Would
It's a
probably-
trap.
Right? I just
The Halloween party's in the dungeon. It's gonna be great.
It's a trap. I
I,
can't quite do it, Admiral Akbar.
I generally heard Admiral Akbar the second that statement was uttered.
I mean, if it's
So
a
to be
Halloween
perfectly
thing...
honest,
Sorry, Sex, go ahead.
so to be perfectly honest, at that point, my mind is going to be on the buffet tray and all the various wonderful
well,
morsels.
sure, she doesn't want to hit you.
No, 16 has never done anything wrong.
That's what I
Yeah, but the
mean. I've
shrimp
done more than a
platter.
few things wrong, and you're right at pelvic level for lower thrusts.
No,
You know,
I get
just
your
wham!
kneecap
And
so that I could just like, yeah.
You
So,
worried
well,
she's
I'm well versed in the ancient art of sock fu and avoiding
Well, that
the
definitely sounds dirty, Six.
yeah, it does.
I will
So
not have a
I'm
sock on
also
my
a master.
person at the wedding. I can assure you, Polly, you will be fine.
So I too am a master of digging my own holes. So
Although, Polly, you know, if it's the Halloween thing, that gives you a golden excuse to wear the otter onesie outdoors.
Good point.
Yeah.
But I'm having trouble finding a quality one with feetsies. So
Oh,
Mhm.
come on.
well, somebody
Otter.
suggested that I should just buy a quality one and Faro actually make your own footsie things for it. Like,
Just sew
and I'm like, so
socks
basically,
the
you want me to sew
bottoms.
socks to my onesie? And she was like, yeah.
Yeah, that works. Do they
so
really
as
not
long as
have?
you can get a color that matches adequately.
Well, they have them, but it's ultra thin material. Like the whole onesie's ultra thin material. And you gotta understand, like I've got like some pretty high quality novelty socks. Like my Tasmanian devil socks, they got little hurricane spirals on the bottom that are like sticky rubber. So they're
Oh my
they're just
gosh.
great.
You just got
Yeah.
10 times cooler.
And you know the part of socks where the toe section is a separate piece of material that's
Mhm.
sewed onto the front.
Yeah.
And then the heel is a separate part of material. They're not just like tube socks; they're actually shaped socks.
Yeah.
That's what they are, and they're all black except the front of them is like brown, so it looks like the Tasmanian devil's fur.
That
These are
is
high
so cool.
quality
I need
novelty
pictures.
socks.
They sound like good socks.
I don't want to sound creepy, Polly, but I would like to see pictures.
I want to see pictures of your feet. I've had those for years, and I only break them out like on special occasions, like when it's movie night and getting your jammies and put on your Tasmanian devil socks and get the popcorn.
Special occasions.
Yeah. And so they've lasted for years because I only put them on those certain.
Does this
Oh,
sound like
dang.
an otter to you guys? Or is
It's
this
a beaver.
This is a beaver.
Yeah,
It says otter.
it does. You're right. But that's
That's a fucking
clearly a beaver tail.
And teeth.
And I got excited because I thought I found
That
it.
is a substantial beaver tail. Look at that thing.
Honestly.
It almost
That's the
looks
kind of
like
beaver tail
it
you gotta
almost looks
file
like
down.
You know, this is actually disappointing. None of these come with footies.
Right.
This is...
You see my point.
I see
like
your
it's
point. Huh.
and
Well,
it's like
how
I'm
do
okay
you-
with. I always figured I would have to put pockets in it,
Mhm.
and that's fine. And they're gonna be like extra deep pockets. I might even put a sub pocket in the pocket.
Oh,
Will you put a room behind the grandfather clock in the pocket of the pocket?
that's where he keeps his snacks.
That's where he keeps his
It's what we call German engineer. Yeah, and in the right side will be a little pocket inside the pocket for the pills. But I've said too much.
I don't think you've said enough. We
Yeah,
need
I don't know,
pockets and pockets and pockets.
It's also the you got like a top of a plushie sitting on top of your head there with that one, and
That's
that's
what
just
that
some
is.
that furry shit right there. Wow.
That's a fursuit.
Is it really?
Yeah. That was my first impression.
It says mascot costume.
Yeah,
That would be a fursuit.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're different.
Now,
Look how expensive it is, though. That
That's
you know, furries and their suspicious amounts of money, as far would call it.
That's cheap. That's not that expensive. Fursuits go for like 15 grand.
Yeah, it's true.
Or so I've been
That's
told.
true. This is like
You're
trying
really
the
quick there,
scene
Weebo.
out level, you know.
Listen, if I want to dress up like a ladybug, that's my business, not yours.
You need to stop watching that show.
I already watched the whole thing, and all of
It's-
the specials and the movie. Now I just have the web episodes.
Weebo, it is for 14-year-old girls who are French.
But
Oh, wait.
that's a good point. I haven't watched the French language version yet. I should do that first
Oh, dear.
before I give
What
up
have I done?
entirely. This is a catastrophe of my own design, actually.
Next thing you know, she's going to be, swanning around the premises in a beret and a drawn-on moustache.
I have
I
a
can see
beret
it now.
somewhere. And I am not
Everyone
above
should.
drawing on mustaches, as
A
the
mustache.
audience knows.
No, you
Actually.
should go one better. Weebo, like draw the moustache on the inside of your index finger, and then just periodically hold it up.
I think I've done that too.
You have.
Oh,
actually,
and
yeah.
the cigarette with the really long cigarette holder.
I have glued mustache to my face. I have taped mustache to my face. I have used my hair as a mustache on my face. I have put a finger up to my face as a mustache on my face. And I have taped a sticky note with a mustache to my face.
Weebo was a 2006 MySpace girl in every respect.
I have done it all.
You know, I was just thinking what would be my favorite Weebo costume, and excuse me, the yeah, I thought right away it's like definitely the Roman patrician lady from What Is Your Roman Empire? Remember about a year ago?
Yeah, that was a very strong contender.
Oh,
It's
Mhm.
up there with the Hermione Granger one for me.
But it
Mine
occurred to
will
me like
always
you've
be-
never done like a 1940s lady, like a flapper that doesn't realize the 30s are over, or, you know. Like can we never come on Noir Bar like in costume? What's up with that, man?
because first off, aren't we in Discord voice? So how
What?
would you see the costume?
You turn your camera on.
Yeah. And then we capture it for the benefit of a delighted audience.
Now I
Exactly.
need to go find a flapper dress. All right. Well, you've
I mean, for as
convinced
many
me.
times as we've talked about all of the awesome fashion going on in Captain America: The First Avenger, for example, and the what happened to the blouses and pencil skirts of the 1940s was your take, and remember?
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so in my defense, I have several vintage dress wear sites saved to my to be bought bookmark tabs. I just haven't pulled the trigger on any of that yet because I want to lose weight and I want to look good in the dress. And if I order a dress from a vintage
Weebo,
store,
I normally reserve this for Eve, but you are such a girl.
I hope so. That's what it says on my birth certificate.
Is that the idea
my-
that it's like it never occurred to you to buy it as a costume because you always considered it, everyday wear, or
Yeah,
thought
I
of
would
it as something?
wear the fuck out of that dress every day if I could.
Makes sense. Stands to
I'm not
reason.
buying some cheap,
My favorite.
dressy thing
I
from
would-
Halloween Town Store Express. Nah.
My favorite Weibo costume is always going to be the bee.
Line Patriot in chat.
That
agreed.
was-
B.
The bee. That.
That's
you
fair.
channeled a spirit through that bee costume. That is, it is quintessential Weibo. Just that. It's like your Infinity Gauntlet. You just put on the bee costume, and you became the bee.
I became. Get it?
YouTube
I was-
career
Wow.
secure. Well done.
Wow.
Sorry.
Were you saving up for that one? Where
Oh,
Well, I heard you lamenting the loss of your YouTube career, and I'm like, how could it be with humor like that? Come on.
You right.
welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Weebo Jones channel.
But to answer your
Oh, is
question
it?
that I've avoided a few times here, because I've been reading this, and
Mm.
was okay, y'all perspective on this, that it's like, okay, I destroyed my relationship. So there's two things that I find unbelievable about this. Like I said, I just find it simply not believable. And I'm not trying to be a contrarian. It's just like, what? Okay, one, I don't believe that a man, upon hearing this from his beloved of 2.5 years where there's no problem, would suddenly say, I think I need some space, and then left for a while. Like, just took, like, got up, and like, presumably he was unreachable at that point. When you say I need some space, he wasn't responding to text messages or answering phone calls, hence the space, right? One would have to assume.
And she
All right.
absolutely has sent those, assuming any of this has happened, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, otherwise, like, if the dude just left and said, "Oh, I'll be back in 10 minutes. I just went to get some chimkin fries. Calm down." Like, she wouldn't be typing on Reddit.
Wow.
Well, touche. Yeah, it's possible.
Maybe.
Yeah, she rushed to the dramatic interpretation and right to Reddit. But
As a woman, let me just say, because I'm uniquely qualified to assert this, yeah, we absolutely go to, like, the worst case scenario. Like, oh, it's all over! The world is ending! My relationship is done!
Yeah. Yes, you.
Because we're drama queens.
see, so like, I mean, this, from my perspective, like, this had to not be the first thing that went awry. Is that what else led up to this? That would be the questions I would ask her if she were to say this to me. It's like, do you think I destroyed my relationship, Rudiger? I think you had been ebbing away at its foundation for some time before this straw caused it to collapse. If he indeed just, walked the fuck out of a house that you guys had together. I mean, you're trying to tell me that a poorly chosen phrase in the middle of a drinking session led to him just like, yo, fuck this? Doesn't sound right. Men are not that. I mean, I'm that emotionally unstable. That's me, I did.
This didn't
I'm
just
kidding.
pop out of nowhere. is what
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
saying.
because if everything was fine, and one more to say it to me, I would have immediately confronted her on it. Or maybe if it ate away at me, like, the next day I would have said something. Like, what do you mean by that? Like, you're saying I'm not immediately attractive, but you've grown to appreciate my hideousness? Like, what the fuck?
Right, you would
Yeah.
go asking questions because you're like, I want to understand.
If it were a solid relationship, and then all of a sudden this really seemingly out of left field quote compliment that was really an insult, that is the way he took it, came out of nowhere, I'd be asking questions. I wouldn't be fucking leaving. But if it were this horrible relationship where I was putting up with all of this stuff, and I'd been stewing, man, like the stew was ready to come off the stove, and then all of a sudden, boom, this extra piece, it's like, you know what, like, and then there's nothing more to be said. Getting up and just, I need some space to think, that's some, like, Sam, that's some nothing more to be said time. You know what I mean?
I would characterize it more along the lines of, you have nothing more to say. No, but I mean, no. You've got nothing more to say. I need to go think.
Yeah. Am I really going to put up with this any longer? Because there's more of this coming. Like, I mean, look, she was willing to go that far by saying this thing to me, in addition to all these other things. That doesn't strike me as a singular incident, so I don't find that particularly believable. Well, as presented, maybe she just wasn't being detailed enough. This isn't the first time I made a compliment. Yes, I compared him unfavorably to my bevy of toys and etc. Like it.
Both you and I have the same curiosity about this particular situation, because we don't have the context, we don't have the stuff before it to gauge our opinion.
Yeah, no, I just had a thought about this. What if the whole concept, like, we're 28 years old, been together for 2.5 years. What if that's just to her?
What do you mean to her?
He's got a secret family in another town, or what?
Like, she thinks that it's a serious relationship and it's been going on for 2.5 years, but they're actually just friends with benefits or something.
Oh, you mean
And
like
she's
they never clarified?
She's projecting.
They've been
What
in a
if that's
situationship this whole time, but not actually.
What if is that a possibility, or am I just
Actually?
alluding?
No, that's
That is-
an angle.
That's such a very,
entirely
very good point.
possibility.
Very good point. Because we're making a whole hell of a lot of assumptions of
Right.
the
I mean,
stage
One kind of has
the
to. There's not a lot of
relationship.
detail here.
Yeah, there's
I
not
get it.
enough detail to know. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, maybe she's getting like, you know, they've been friends with benefits for 2.5 years or so, or however long, and you know she's putting claws in. Yeah,
I don't know. You know,
could be.
I just thought of that because I'm like, we're questioning things.
And
What
that's a
if-
damn good point. That's a
Yeah.
damn good point.
Mm,
They're not actually boyfriend and girlfriend. She just thinks that they are.
yeah.
Ooh. Of all of the M. Night Shyamalan twists that could have happened, I think that one's the one.
Really?
I don't know. Really? Yeah, I think my
you
secret
bring it.
family in another town is pretty Shamalama Ding Dong.
No, I think that's a stretch.
What a twist!
Where do you think he went to go think?
You can go to other places beside your secret extra family. You can go to like your parents' house, your bestie's house, your brother or sister's house.
Men don't have
your-
besties.
No, not like that.
I'm Super Nintendo's bestie. Actually,
Say it again.
no, you're right. He has another fiance that isn't me. That's right.
Your Super Nintendo's besties? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, I'm his bestie. We're
Did
best.
he agree
Did he
with
tell you
that
that?
after you told him that? Sam, this man is not looking forward to a sequel. I'm saying.
Oh no!
Ben!
Oh, she's gonna put him
Oh,
on
no.
the spot. No, what have we done? What have we done?
You
hear
never
that?
challenged
Do
the
you-
you
do you
never
hear that?
challenged the woman in the bee costume.
Yeah, he knows to pull the headphones off and answer like, "Now, yo." You know,
Don't walk out. You're still on camera. Am I your bestie?
Get in here!
Wait, say it louder for the gentleman in the chat.
You're like the best pain in my ass.
Hey! Did you hear that? Can you say it nicer, please?
Sure, you're the bestest pain in my ass.
Does anyone have a bullwhip on hand?
Am I your best friend, dear?
I mean, yeah.
Okay, that was what I was asking about. Thank you.
Oh,
do you think she showed him her bald fist? I think so.
Love you!
Love bombing after the abuse. See?
Shut up.
Textbook.
All of you suck.
Absolutely textbook.
I would like to remind the audience that I have tiny little T-Rex arms, so even if I wanted to, I could not actually land a blow because all you have to do is put a hand on my head and like, I don't have the reach to land anything.
See, I have
That's why she has.
This
Go
is
ahead.
all set up, guys. Like it's just I can hear it.
That's why she has the sock with the parquet in it.
Even if you go tell someone, they'll never believe you.
Your Honor! The court has been presented with evidence of the length of Weebo's arms. Surely you cannot believe that she would be able to
Time to
deliver
retitle
such-
this stream "The Trial of Weebo Jones."
Yes.
Well, I've got a theory on this too. Like no, you have T-Rex arms, right? Well, I think of like hockey, so it's like if you don't have good arms, you can just hip check people like nobody's business.
I do have
You know?
pretty nice
And
hips.
since you're short, you're gonna hit most people like in the knee, so they're gonna go down, which puts you in range for the T-Rex arms.
Do you guys just think
that's
about how I would beat you up like in Discord chat when I'm not there? Is that like the conversations you guys
I am not
have?
willing to divulge that information, Weebo Jones.
Is this what happens when I don't enter the Discord for a significant amount of time? Do I need to like
No,
hop
I
in?
admit it. I brought it. Whoa, that didn't sound like a threat.
We have.
I
I don't know,
Back
Polly.
away.
Should we
Wait,
tell
what?
her about the secret T-Rex arms Discord?
Surely not.
She has my address. I don't want her coming to where I live at, man. She'll pack sandwiches and drive as long as she has to.
I have all the Wonder Bread that I need.
So as for part 2, what I don't find believable about this rendition of events here is that, but he is still the same this morning. He told me he needs space to think for a while and left the house. All my friends tell me I'm messed up, and guys tell me it's not a compliment. Most of them will understand it differently. Most men will understand it differently. Yeah, I guess that tense is correct. I gotta get out of grading perspective. Anyway.
No dissertations on the paragraph that was written. All right.
Yeah, I just like most men. I mean, I guess I was just thinking will or would in the sense of like they're talking like anything said like that or what particularly she said. You understand what I mean? Like that's all. Yeah. Is there any kind of like comparison to other men that would be the thing, or the very particular words that she said? I think I destroyed a relationship and I'm panicking right now. I find that unbelievable. In my experience, it would be like, what you said has me thinking and I need to go think. And it's like, go think. If something like that sets you off, well, then you got some kind of problem. I didn't mean anything by it. I'm going to go to work. I mean, that's my experience. So.
Oof.
Yeah, had a couple of those.
Nah.
I feel like I need to inject a weight pill into all of you guys because this has been depresso.
We're 21st century men. I tend to look at it this way. I tend to look at it this way. Sure, I've had a lot of bad experiences in the past, but the thing is, I'm actually hopeful and optimistic about my future insofar as relationships go. I know by rights I would have every good standing to have this sort of black pill negative outlook on things, but I really don't. And
no, neither do I. I mean, as for under a calcified, cemented, damn near fossilized, deep layers of cynicism, yeah, there's a romantic heart down there somewhere. And
God dust it off.
I usually chalk it. Well, not usually. I just do chalk it up to personality types.
Yeah.
She is the kind of person who's going to react that way. And you never know how someone's going to, or not react, act that way. It's like, I'm going to say something like this, and if you misunderstood, well, then come the fake apologies from certain personality types where they can't see themselves to understanding that they did something that was
contemptible.
Yeah, you want me to be open, vulnerable, blah, 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 all of these things. And then I am, and right in the fucking liver, with a prison rusty shiv. And it's,
there would be certain caveats that I would say that even though I do have this more cheery, optimistic, glasses half full kind of attitude now that I didn't used to have 5, 10 years, 12, 15 years ago, there are certain caveats. I'm not going to be, of course, approaching everything in the cavalier method that I did before. So I'm certainly going to be approaching things a lot more cautiously and less unthinking, less what is it? More, what's the word I'm looking for? Sam, you're good with words.
And
less
no, I think you say it quite clearly there, Six. Is you whilst you have a an optimistic outlook on your own life, you ain't down to put it with a load of shit.
Right. I'm past the gamey games.
Yes. Yeah, gamey games. Yeah, exactly.
None of that high school bullshit.
Mm-hmm. This ain't a musical, lady. Cut the shit. Yeah.
Okay.
So Weebo, I am interested though. And bear in mind I haven't watched the all of the stream prior to me dropping in here, but So your bad faith take. If you had to characterize this in the worst way that you can conceive of, what would it be?
So, bad faith take. I tried to compliment him by saying he is not someone who I would hook up or be a friends with benefits with, but marry. I'd have to go with that generic, you know, I don't find you attractive enough to just kind of have a whirlwind fling thing with, but I think I'll settle, like, in the worst way. Like, this is about as good as I can get for a long term because of my personality.
Mm-hmm.
If I were to give a bad faith take, which generally I don't, I like to see the best in people. Which sounded so fake coming out of my face. Jeez. I see the good in humanity. I try to, at least. That's actually one of me and Super Nintendo's biggest disagreements is, like, I generally think that humans are good, he thinks that they're bad, and then somehow we meet in the middle and we work. So, yeah. I like to think that she did not have the worst of intentions when delivering that line. I think she intended genuinely to be like, you are husband material, and I think I want to marry you. And it came out in the worst way possible because they were drunk, and, you know, you never say things the best when you're intoxicated. For sure. I know I don't say words goodly, even when I'm sober.
I think to sort of, you know, contrast against the good and the bad interpretation. I want to give kind of more of a bleak read of this. Yeah. She just didn't think about it at all.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
Total throwaway comment.
Total throwaway comment.
Mind,
Just didn't. This is one of those things that I do hate to say about people, but there are an awful lot of people out there who just don't engage brain before gob, you know. Especially drunk women. Had to get a bit of misogyny in there, you know, a little bit.
Especially drunk people, Sam.
No. Men have an understanding, even while drunk, that violence may ensue if they say something out of line.
I've had drunk guys say the weirdest of stuff. I've had a drunk man take his pants off and put them on top of my bar in broad daylight. So
yeah, he's just being whimsical.
Ah, yes, whimsical. That's full of whimsy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, to be fair, he was trying to show off his pants because someone complimented him on them, and he's like, you want to see them closer? Inspect them, maybe? But
yeah, he's being whimsical. Would you like to see them a little closer? Rather than being dirty and, you know, like, hip thrusting in their face. No, he takes his pants off.
Yes,
That's respectful of a drunk man.
Yes, of course.
From a certain perspective, I guess.
Maybe it's
like that's the good faith interpretation of that. Sorry, Polly. Yes.
No, go ahead. Your good faith interpretation is what?
Oh no, I was just saying Sam had the good faith interpretation of the man who dropped trow and went to show people his pants.
Yeah, that's what that was.
He had the best of intentions.
Of course. So you're saying, Polly?
Well, okay. So the best of intentions. Funny you put it that way. Funny in the horrible, ironic sense. I, from my own experiences, have learned to very much mistrust the notion of intentions because they are, by definition, secret and unavailable for examination, so to speak. Anyone can claim anything about their intentions. And it's like, when I said that, I didn't intend for you to take it that way. Oh, so then whatever you said is fine. It's like, I've just listened to a lot of hip hop in my life. So when I call you a bitch 5 times in a conversation, I don't intend for you to feel diminished. So therefore, it's okay for me to consistently refer to you as a bitch. It's like, well, no, obviously not. Well, yeah, it's always different when it comes to women, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like she might have not intended. Well, isn't that the point? In a certain way, from a certain, as you're calling it, bad faith perspective, or uncharitable interpretation. It's like, I didn't mean that. I think that's exactly what you meant. You just didn't realize how it was going to turn out. And what you're describing as your intention isn't really an intention at all. It's your intention was you didn't give a fuck one way or another. Like Sam said, you weren't even thinking about it. You were just drunk and talking, and in a unguarded moment of honesty, you described him as somebody who wasn't immediately attractive, somebody you wouldn't think about out of sheer lust getting with, because you just don't look at him that way. But he's steady, reliable. Translation, babysitter,
Secure.
bank account.
Yeah.
As opposed to the lot sexier men that are unreliable. Because it comes across as an unvarnished, accidental truth moment.
Yeah. I think having read some of the comments on Twitter about that Weebo, actually, I think a lot of men were taking, well, I say a lot of men, I think a lot of people were sort of taking that very, very acidic read.
Yeah, and I do actually have a couple of examples of such a read.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, highlight reel.
Highlight reel, let's go. So from Wall Street Silver. Sorry, Polly, yes?
This was I've heard many a woman describe a man as being particularly, men are very simple creatures. They're not complicated, blah, blah, blah. If all of this is true, then you should be able to find your way through to the solution if the man is willing to talk to you and you actually haven't set up mounds and mounds of fucking problems in advance, assuming that isn't the case. And that he really did just take this as a, wow, I was thinking about asking her to marry me, but do I really want to marry somebody who conceives of me this way? Was that, or more to the point, this was her way of broaching the subject of marriage, and that's how she did it?
Oof. Oh, I hope not.
Do you understand what I mean? Because it's like she didn't mention marriage before that. But, you're not somebody who's particularly attractive, but, you're reliable and steady. And let me see, they're 28, 2.5 years before. So, 25 and a half. Up until the age of 25. Oh, yeah. I'm glad I don't live in the town that I used to live in because I got a reputation there. Like,
Same.
But if you know what I mean, it's like I've sowed my wild oats, and now I'm looking to settle down with somebody like yourself. I mean, so if men really are these simple creatures, and the man is willing to talk to you again, and all these bad things haven't happened before, then it would just be like, I was drunk and I was thinking about a drunken fling that I would regret later. I don't regret anything with you. And there's no way that I would have sex with a man repeatedly that I didn't find attractive in a very big way. And then if men really are so simple and they really are about their egos, then lean into that. Be like, remember that time we did this thing? Remember when I dressed up like that Roman patrician woman for you? Remember that? I don't do that for men. That sort of thing. You understand what I mean? Remind him of times that you were particularly feisty and frisky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that. That's the way to lean in. She's like, oh my God, I've destroyed my relationship. I don't know. Maybe it's just my interpretation of what you're reading here, but because of the lack of detail, it's coming across like I just screwed up the steady relationship, and now all that's left are gay men and philandering Lotharios.
I think that is sort of like the sort of the meta read, right? In so much as like, yeah, maybe she has done a bunch of spicy things for him or what have you, but like his takeaway is like, yeah, but okay, so you wouldn't do this for your friends with benefits or what have you, or your hookups, but hookups and friends with benefits, they've never not been on your mind up until this point in life.
Yeah. We will feel free to use philandering Lotharios in your book. You're welcome.
Philandering. Hang on, let me write this down.
Speaking of, Polly.
Is that a PH or is that F? What is that?
Philandering F.
PH.
No, philandering isn't a philanthropic effort. It's an F.
Are you sure PH looks right?
It's PH.
Oh, yeah,
it's
Is it
PH.
really?
Yeah, philandros, the love of men.
Gotcha. Philandering, and then
No
the last
shit.
part.
Hmm.
Philandering.
This is how I ended up thinking epitome and epitome were separate words.
Wait. They're not?
Weebo, seriously?
You weren't serious?
No,
What part of Polly's full of shit do you not understand?
no. Okay, I just
Listen, it's been a long day. It's Monday, all right?
did you. Okay, let me ask differently. Did you think epitome and epitome were separate words?
I thought. Now I don't want to say it.
No. Listen, I did. I totally did. Okay, and you know who told me that they weren't?
Who?
Somebody else who was in my master's program, Weebo. That's how long, okay, that I went around, having read the word epitome, had never said it aloud. I had only ever read it, right? But I had heard epitome a whole bunch of times. And I thought epitome ended with a Y, and I guess I had never had to type it or write it. Because he said, dude, that's the same word. And I said, seriously? And thank God it was somebody who wasn't an asshole. Dodged a bullet. So if you thought they were separate words, hey, up top, I hear you.
This is like the
It's not a
Panther
situation.
Jaguar situation all over again.
There isn't a spelling of it with a Y?
No.
That's
Epitome?
just
No.
That's just a misspelling?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
Or you're reading Epiphany and just being creative.
Yeah, because I've seen epitome written a couple different places, and it was with a Y, and I'm like, weirdly enough, I knew what they were saying, and I was like, okay, it's epitome. I knew the word, but I thought that there was, like epitome in this case was some
I'm
other.
feeling
like
a lot
like
better about this. This is
I thought
great.
it was
So am I. I'm judging you all.
I thought it was like an old world spelling.
Shut
Like
up,
a
Sam, you
previous
polyglot.
generation spelling of it.
Polyglot. Well done.
Thank you.
So I didn't know that either. Now I'm questioning a lot of things. Great.
So, philandering, what was the second word there?
Would you like to know something really
Lothario.
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 Hello.
Lothario. Alright, yeah, I'm totally stealing that.
It's like
Would
Lothario.
you like,
Bad sex.
would you like to know something, Rat?
What?
Some really interesting trivia.
Mhm.
There is actually a board game called Polyglot.
I didn't know that.
There's a comic called The Polymath. Yeah, that's...
Damn it, beat me to the punch.
So,
You delight in that, don't you?
epitome is
like
not a giant epic saga of, like, stories from ancient Rome or anything? Like, that's not an actual thing?
No.
Okay.
That's a tome.
That's an epic. That's an epic tome. 2 words.
I heard tell that TOME as regards to like a large volume of work. I've heard tell that that's also supposed to be pronounced tomb.
What? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Because the E makes it a long O.
Well,
Really?
Yeah. I've heard tell of that. Yeah. I don't know if there's truth to it. I gotta be honest, as an English degree notwithstanding, I don't care that much.
The world is chaos. English is hard and the
But see-
worst.
But what you have to understand is that chaos is a ladder.
No, it's a vortex.
It also chaos may also be a Chinese restaurant if you add an apostrophe before the S.
God damn it, Six. God actually damn it.
What does the apostrophe do?
Chows.
Chows. Oh, you're the worst.
I have the title. I have the title of a book for you, Polly. Actually, The Inscrutability of Intention. There you go. There's a book title. You can have that one.
Oh, Polly, you're writing a book?
No.
Well, he wasn't, but he should now.
Now he is.
I mean, that's
One of us.
that's pretty freaking pretentious, Sam.
I know.
That's like the temerity of hope, the temerity of that title.
Well, Polly said, dust off that old word processor and get to work.
Join the club, Polly. You can
Think, Polly.
do it.
You could do that, and then one day it will be, the required reading of sociology majors the world over.
Hey! Don't you want that?
Why inscrutability instead of?
Because as you mentioned earlier, intentions are not exactly, open to scrutiny.
To analysis? Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, it doesn't imply. I mean, it just implies an inability to know or an ambiguity. It doesn't imply a doubtfulness, which I certainly have.
Right.
When people are bringing up their fucking intentions, it's like, well, I didn't intend that. And what usually follows is a fake apology in the form of, well, I'm sorry you took it that way. I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry you misunderstood. Which is like, and I'm sorry you're a miserable bitch, but here we are.
I still think intentions are important. Because, yes, well, the road
You know
to
what?
hell is
Weebo,
paved with them.
Do you remember? It was like,
it
it was
goes
like
along
4
with
years
the,
ago when you were telling me a story when you went back to Super Nintendo and apologized for something.
Yeah,
And I've
probably. That's definitely happened. I know that.
well, that's why. And I was like, wait. Why did you do this? And you were like, well, I felt bad. I was thinking about it. I mean, and I said there was no prompting. There was no, sort of bad outcome that came such that you regretted it because of the outcome, not so much because of what you did particularly. You mean of your own volition you went back?
Yeah,
You're like, yeah. And I was like, fuck, I found the unicorn.
Shut up. There are plenty of me out there. You just, have to find someone who's uniquely introspective.
No, what I mean by that is that I was
think
referencing
she
personality
deserves
type
faith.
before, and I just mean like, yeah, there's some people that will, combination of whatever difficult to define things it would be, personality type, introspection, as you said, along with a sense of humility, perhaps, I don't know, with a dusting of common sense.
The humility part for sure, that's a hurdle that is specifically difficult to get over, even like with practice, because no one wants to be the one to admit I fucked up, but you kind of have to, especially in a healthy relationship. You kind of have to like have that awareness and wherewithal to be like,
and there's an element of security to it as well.
Oh yeah.
Security, insecurity. Like if you think admitting you're wrong is a sign of weakness, or apologizing for something diminishes your position, that's just to me that speaks to some degree of insecurity in the person. It's like, yeah, I fucked up there, but because you're secure in what you're doing and yourself and so on, it's but look at the vast array of other things where I didn't do anything wrong at all. That's not a big problem to say here I fucked up, because the humility comes into it. I'm not perfect, and here's the evidence. Sorry, Sam, go ahead.
No, I've got to disagree with you a little bit there, Weebo, as regards to relationships. And I would much rather be the one that's wrong in a relationship, because I can fix that very easily. It's much, much harder in a relationship, in any relationship, be it friendship, be it romantic relationship, what have you, to convince another person that no, there's something not working quite right here, and you'd very much like them to address it. It's very difficult, or at least it can be very difficult.
I don't disagree with you there. That's why both people in the relationship have to be, in order for it to be like a healthy relationship, you both have to be willing to be wrong, to, embrace the humility of being wrong. And I'm not the only one that does it in the relationship. Super Nintendo has done it a couple of times too, and so it's like that's why we work. It's because neither of us are prideful enough to not apologize to the other spontaneously without prompting from the other.
I would like to quickly cede the floor to Sex. He's had something to say for a minute.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I forgot what I was going to say, but I will say
Six is
that
reclaiming his time.
yeah, I'm reclaiming my time. I will say that Weebo certainly does deserve a high five, because that is a very difficult step in anyone's personal development, anyone's story arc, is to get past the hubris and embrace the humility to the necessary degree in order to get to that kind of that precipice. So
I will say it can go terribly wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have thought so. Like, how could that go wrong? Well, I found out. You go to a person and no, they didn't say that there was anything wrong, but you felt about what you had said was, or something you had done was not right. You could have done better, and if you had the chance to do it over again, you would have done or said something different. I've gone back and it's like, yeah, I don't want to hear that. I wasn't bothered by that. Like, it was a dismissal of your admitting that you did something wrong.
Mm.
And it's like, you just made me want to be. I'm becoming ever more convinced that Absolute Zero is a fraud because they haven't examined your heart yet.
Ooh.
I can't say. Maybe this is where our individual bitternesses depart, Polly. I can't say as I've ever felt that. It always boils back down to a sort of thing. Well, okay, well I'm gonna change it anyway.
I actually have encountered a situation not like that, but where being the bigger person, going up and like apologizing for a situation that occurred where both parties were at fault, but like after, upon self-reflection, you're like, okay, I was not proud of the way that I handled the situation. Let me go apologize and admit my wrongdoing. In that situation, it's very unsatisfying for the other party to not also go, you know what, you're right, I was also in the wrong here. When they just basically say, well, thank you, and then kind of brush it off as like it was only one-sided. That is extremely unsatisfying too. But you do that for completely different reasons.
Oh, I have awful thoughts.
I bet you do. I bet you do.
I have awful thoughts. And there's Weebo proving that she's a woman again.
Shut up. But the impetus to be humble, to humble thyself and apologize to a person, to self-reflect, that comes from plenty of examples in my youth of my parents not super getting along with each other and being unable to admit fault, and that's from childhood. That's like, I don't want to be that person in my relationship. I want to be this person in my relationship. I want to be the person that I want to be in a relationship with, basically. Which sounds super narcissistic, but it's not. All right? It's basically the golden rule of treat others how you would like to be treated. And if I were in the other person's shoes, I would want me to apologize.
I guess that does actually lead me to a sort of to a question, and I'd like to ask each of you in turn. I'll start at the bottom of the list and work up. And you're not under any obligation to answer this because I guess it's kind of personal in a sense. When it comes to expressing your own humility, do you feel like you, as a person, sort of depend to a degree on the validation of the person you are humbling yourself before, right?
If I'm gonna admit and be humble, they have to validate it?
Not have to, but do you feel disappointed or in some way if they don't validate it?
No, usually if I'm trying to be humble and just admit that I fucked up or did something wrong, I'm usually one of the first people to admit I did something wrong because I tend to assume I do all the time. But when I admit that to another person, that's the act of admitting it is enough. I don't actually really need their validation.
Okay. How about you, Six?
It's like I bared my soul.
Well,
Deal with it.
it's I have said a lot of stupid shit, and a lot of stupid shit that was prompted from a lot of different sources within myself, whether it be anger or jealousy, just such a vast unfamiliarity with the situation where it was inevitable that I was going to say something incredibly stupid, and I've certainly committed my measure of mistakes in the past. And when it comes down to apologizing, it's not so much looking for validation from others. It's just it feels like a machine that has like a fan belt that is like I'm a motor, and there's a fan belt that is poorly timed and it needs to be corrected, or else I don't feel like I'm running right. So I have to take that step to say, hey, what I said was stupid. In a situation, I fucked up. Sorry about that.
I suppose I should probably broaden my term from validation. I don't necessarily mean like someone accepting the
Okay.
apology necessarily, but someone in the case of validation, like either they accept your apology or they were angry about that too, or what have you. Is that something that you do you need to feel like this is a fault that didn't escape their notice? I suppose, and do you need to have that confirmed? I suppose is what I mean by validation.
Like, you're not just being insecure in your self-reflection.
Yeah.
It's like genuinely this
No,
was a problem.
not even so much. It's there are it's times where that comes into play are a lot fewer than they would otherwise be. They're more follows the scenario where there is something that I know that I fucked up. When that is not the case, there is usually some sort of inquiry that I would ask the question, did I fuck up there? And if the answer is yes, okay, sorry about that. If the answer is no, then go might say, I'm sorry about it. It's kind of a situation where I don't want to have that level of strife between myself and others.
Mm-hmm. How's about you, Polly?
No.
Okay.
Succinct?
Short, sweet, to the point.
I'm
No need to.
No,
I
just-
appreciate
just
your
thought-
brevity.
I don't need to have it externally validated. The example that I gave, and the other times that I can think of where it's happened, the person was directly dismissive of it in a way where it was the point that was being made was, to hurt me, you'd have to go a lot further than that, or something a lot more severe than that would have to happen. It's like, it wasn't my point. I'm not saying that this was, you know, an emotional apocalypse for you. Yeah, which it's like, well, the way that you said it was like, it was, you know, I've been stewing on it. It's like, and then the conversation was diverted to being about something else. You know what I mean? But in terms of, is there points that somebody says, no, you're fine. That's not a problem. Even if they didn't say and added on something like, I appreciate you saying that. Don't get me wrong, because that would be still some form of validation. No, if they said, okay, I understand what you're saying, but no, it actually wasn't that big of a problem. Okay, fine. No, I don't. No.
Okay. Sorry, this is just my, me as the autist. There's questions I have for real people.
I do have an example of like a recent example of having that conversation with someone I was close to, and like admitting, hey, I was a part of this situation that I didn't feel super proud of my participation in it, and I feel super kind of bad about, and I want to apologize if you were uncomfortable by it. And he was like, no, it's fine. It's just the way things are. Didn't, it wasn't a big deal. And I'm like, I didn't ruminate on it after the fact. Like, I didn't lose sleep over it. But, like, it did feel a little bit awkward to be like, oh, okay. I didn't need to do this, but I did it anyway. I did feel better after the fact because it was bothering me. But it doesn't deter me from doing that in the future, I guess.
Okay. No. Like I said, just the autist in me since it's got that question about it. For, like, how do other people experience the situation?
Yeah. So
It's more
How
often-
weird am I?
Oh, sorry.
I
Sorry, go ahead.
I just want to let everyone know that we have been streaming. I have been streaming for 2.5 hours, and your girl Weebo has a bedtime before she turns into a pumpkin. So, final.
Actually, I was just about to say, I'm
thoughts?
feeling terrible all day and still am, and I was about to get going, so excellent timing.
No, I read your mind. Thank you for coming, Polly. Appreciate
Well, thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. And thank you for coming back to my comeback stream. There we go. I think this is a
Okay.
comeback stream. The glorious return of Weebo.
Always a pleasure.
Why are we laughing? Don't laugh at me. I'm serious.
Good to see you in the week.
I
Good
need
to see you in the
it.
week, Polly.
I do exist throughout the week. It's true.
You do. It's delightful.
Manifest only on Friday evening or so.
This is Democracy Manifest.
Okay, so final thoughts from the gentleman of the live stream before we wrap this up, if any. You can pass if you want. I won't force you to say anything.
It doesn't really. It's not really a thought pertaining to the subject. It's more about conversations like this make me tend to self-reflect, and I almost always come to the same conclusion that there's something fucking wrong with me. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. Just, I don't know what's wrong with me, but something's wrong. That's where I'm at right now. So,
That's character growth, right?
well, as long as it goes into a useful skill,
Reflection is important.
We all.
That's all I had to say. Sorry.
Six, the floor is yours.
Okay. Well, you all know about the RC Cola thing, so I don't so bear repeating, but there is the RC Cola thing. So, if you don't know about the RC Cola thing, check your DMs because you may have been alluded to. So you're.
10-4
What
Super
I
Chief.
want to use the.
Oh yeah, I'm aware.
All right.
I guess that is my final thought. I do enjoy these kinds of conversations. They are certainly food for thought, and I do agree with Rat there that it prompts that sort of introspection. It when you're gathered together with people having a conversation like this, it allows you to see things from perspectives that you perhaps haven't had much opportunity to see them from, and certainly hear things told in a manner that you perhaps don't hear very often and need to hear more often, I suppose. As I'm rambling here. RC Cola.
Well, if I might take to the floor here, yeah, to kind of echo what Rat and Six have said here, yeah, these sort of conversations they do give you an opportunity to introspect. Not that you need to take it, not under any obligation to do so, but it can be helpful to do so. And I think even when it's a thread on Reddit or something like that, or something on Twitter, one thing that I have sort of tried to task myself with doing, and I think it's a good thing, is to it's very, very easy to put in the comments section something, dismissive, derogatory, even inflammatory for the sakes of, getting a few likes or what have you. But yeah, give yourself a couple of minutes. Give yourself a couple of minutes. Assume the situation as written to be true, and see what you can draw away from that. That even if this is something completely silly, made up, poorly told, poorly written, what have you, there may well be some value to extract from it. Even if you only have the conversation with yourself, I think it is good. And yeah, welcome back, Weebo. And thank you very much for inviting me on. It's good to chat, good to hang out as well.
It's nice
And
to have
hello
everyone
everybody
on.
in chat as well. Good of you to join us for this.
Yes.
Delightful to see
It
you.
has been a minute. It has been a minute, Sam. That's been too long. It has
Way more
been
than 6 minutes.
It certainly is. See what you did there.
Yeah, no, good to hang out.
Nice.
All right. I'm climbing off the soapbox.
Paula, did you want to say anything? Final thoughts, or do you just want to hop off? 'cause
Final
you're not feeling good?
thoughts. Final thoughts. I don't trust a fat nurse any more than I do a dentist with no teeth.
Good to know.
I take that down. Good.
And never, ever, ever, ever trust a naked bus driver.
Yeah. Would you take a drug intervention from a guy currently shooting up? No. None of these things.
Indeed not. Indeed not.
Is this epitaph material, Bali? Can I include this in your eulogy? Assuming you get out of here before I do.
I don't know why the hell.
Skinny chef does not like food.
But beside my final thoughts that came from I know not where. No, it was good to see Weebo's illustrious return to YouTube. Was happy to be here. Your career is not dead. It's that wasn't good to hear. You could revive it at any time you want. The throngs of adoring fans are just waiting. So by all means, yeah. It's good to see you back, and I'm happy to be here for the first time for you coming back. It was good to see. Nice to hear.
I will do my best to resurrect it, but I make no promises. The YouTube gods are a fickle bunch, and I
Yeah, they are.
have not always been in their favor.
Oh, well, fortunately, you have a necromancer friend, so, resurrection's on the docket. Speaking of,
yes, tomorrow is, I think, out of character stream,
Yeah,
right?
that's the plan. It's an
Right.
out of character one.
Yeah, because we're talking about Ren Fair shenanigans and whatnot, so that'll be a good time. One
Yeah.
hopes.
I'm still gonna throw a Streamlabs at you guys and a dumb pun.
Oh,
Fair enough.
well, thank you. Appreciate it.
I appreciate the puns. I do.
Yes, anything we can do to make Rat laugh is a-okay in my book, because when he laughs, I laugh, and then it's just a shit show.
Unfortunately,
I
maybe.
do.
Fortunately.
I do so look forward to all the laughter, and I do enjoy throwing out a good pun.
Indeed.
you see,
indeed.
Polly, the people, they love puns.
Yeah, good ones.
Good puns, you mean?
Just in general, even the bad ones sometimes are that the pain is actually funny. I don't know.
There's bad puns, and then there's terrible puns, and there's groan-worthy puns, and then there's Sam's ninth circle of hell puns. Right? I'm just saying.
You missed a couple of circles, but okay, I guess your meaning.
There can be only one.
I don't know what that means, but I'm gonna let it slide.
It's
Think I know
open
about this.
to interpretation.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Very good, very good.
Well,
I think I know
anyway.
about this this coming Friday. Weebo, you'll learn all about it.
Oh boy. Anyway, I am going to stop the stream now. Thank you all for joining me on my glorious return, which I need to create a thumbnail for because the current one that we have is not great. But I will get to that probably tomorrow or Wednesday. or Thursday. I have a busy week, and I am going to suffer for it. So, thank you for joining me, everybody. It's good to be back. Happy to talk to everybody. And thanks for joining me, all of you gentlemen.
Pleasure as always.
All right, and now, signing off, it's been real. See you next time. Chat. Bye.
Good night.
I never know how to end these things.
It's the button.
I meant